Welcome to Box Free with Stephanie. Today I want to show you how to make some basic foods with simple ingredients from scratch. And I hope you discover cooking box free is fast and delicious. So let's cook together. Today we're going to make rhubarb custard because it's rhubarb time, almost the end of rhubarb time. And custard, I love custard. And then to have rhubarb on top of it is just awesome. So we're going to whip it up. I'm doing a really small amount because I like to eat this kind of for breakfast. Like, I know that's maybe bad. It's supposed to be like a pie, but I just love custard and I like it as breakfast. So I only make 3 of them because I'm kind of the only person that eats them for breakfast. And I don't eat very many. So just double the recipe if you want more. And this is actually also a pie. So if you double the recipe, you can put it in a pie pan with a pie crust, and then you put the custard in, and then you put the top of the crust on, and you have a delicious pie. So there's different ways to do it. So I just did 2 eggs that I slightly beat to just get them to blend together. Now I'm going to do 3/4 of a cup of sugar, and this is my 1/2 cup. Whoops, I knew that big monster was going to come out at the wrong time. So I'm doing 1/2 cup and then another 1/4 cup, and that gives me 3 cups. I mean, 3/4 cups. Okay, then I need a 1/2 tablespoon of flour, which is not very much. So that is a 1½ teaspoon. Boy, that just seems hardly even, like that's it, just a teeny tiny bit. Just helps thicken it just a little bit. And then a little bit of nutmeg. Like I do 1/4 teaspoon. This is a full teaspoon, so we'll just guesstimate like that. I mean, I suppose you could put too much in, but I don't really think so. I like it. All right, and then I'm going to whip this with my whisk, and this creates my custard. I mean, eggs and sugar is basically a custard. So I'm going to just make sure these are all blended together. And then all I'm going to do is chop up some rhubarb, mix it all together, put it in my custard dishes, and bake it. It's so fast. Okay, so this is my rhubarb I got, my little patch, and mine are just itty bitty ones. Some of them are like monsters. You know, rhubarb comes in all different kinds of sizes, actually, in my opinion. I've seen, like I said, the huge stalks and little ones. So when you go harvest it, you know, pull it from the bottom, right from the root. Then you chop off the leaf and you chop off the little stem end. And then you end up with this. And I only need 2 cups, so I only grabbed this, and I think it's still going to be too many. But maybe I'll stop, because these, you know, you can dip like right into sugar and take them like that, and that's pretty yummy. So I think I'll measure this, and then I could leave these few little ones for a yummy little snack later. Okay, and this almost looks like, oh, no, it's not. Oh, I'm going to need, oh my gosh, I might have to stop and go get my rhubarb, you guys. What? Holy smokes, look at that. I totally misjudged. Okay, this is really funny because 2 weeks ago I was doing something else with rhubarb, making a bunch of crisp, and so I pulled just a bunch of rhubarb. So this is 1 cup. I'm going to chop this up. I pulled a bunch of rhubarb. I needed 8 cups, and I had no idea how much I would need, and so I chopped it all up. I put it in my pan. I had exactly 8 cups. I mean, it was like amazing. So I think today I was like, oh, I know how much I need. And like I totally don't. So I'm just going to see how much this is. And then I'm going to have to put everything on pause and run out, get more rhubarb, wash it, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have like a 1/4 cup, which means I have what? 1 1/4, and I need, how much do I need? 2. All right, sit tight. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I ran out and got some more rhubarb. I threw it under the sink really quick. Now what I do is just kind of dry it off in my little towel because I don't want all that moisture in my recipe. So voila. And then I use my little kitchen shears out there, and then you just pull it up, and then you just chop off the ends, chop off the leaves, and it's like super fast. And these are a tiny bit bigger. So I don't know, I guess when I just had my little bitty stalks, it just doesn't add up to very much. But I still had some out there, so that was lucky. Okay, so I'm gonna finish chopping this up, add it, and be done. And like I said, this came from a, wait, this is only a half. I'm like, what? Okay, so I better just dump this in so I don't get too mixed up here. Otherwise I'll be all wrong. Anyway, this recipe came from my mom's rhubarb cookbook. She made a rhubarb cookbook, like, I don't know, a long time ago, 10 or 15 years ago maybe. And there's like rhubarb meatballs, there's rhubarb drinks, rhubarb appetizers. It is kind of a crazy thing that you can do a lot with. And I don't know, is it a fruit or vegetable? I'll have to ask my mom. I'm sure she knows now. But her cookbook was just like a fun thing to make, and I don't think it ever got printed necessarily, but that was back when, you know, CDs were the thing and you could like just switch it over to somebody, make a copy. Okay, so now I have 2 cups of rhubarb, 2 eggs, 3/4 cup sugar, 1.5 teaspoon of flour, and like 1/4 teaspoon of my nutmeg. So now this gets all just slimy looking, like crazy. The like goopy egg and sugar mixture is just all like bleh, like, you know, we're not going to say the yucky word we're all thinking, but it turns out to be delicious. Okay, so now if I'm really lucky, my recipe usually turns out I have 3, I think these are 1 cups, right? 3 1-cup Pyrex baking dishes. So I'm just simply going to divide it into 3, and you kind of end up with all this rhubarb that comes out first, and then you get all this custard on the bottom. So I try to go back, see there's a bunch of custard in there, I try to go back to my first bowl and throw a little more yellow egg mixture in there. And then I scrape it all up and put that in my middle bowl. So it feels like my first bowl doesn't get as much egg mixture, my last one always has a whole bunch of it. See how perfect that is? It's just so fun. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. Okay, so now these are like way too hard to deal with in the oven, which is preheated to 400 by the way. So I put them in my little baking dish, and for bread pudding I always pour boiling water in here, but for this one I don't, and it doesn't seem to affect it. So I just throw them in here just for an ease of like moving them in and out. And I put them in there, and I'm going to bake them for probably about 20 to 25 minutes, and I'll check them. They take a little bit of time because the custard does just take time to heat up and actually cook through. So we'll be back in about 25 or 30 minutes, and I'm going to stick it with the butter knife and see if it comes out clean, and then we'll taste it. Okay, we'll be back. We are back. It's actually been 35 minutes for my custard, and I just checked it. I'm going to pull it out and see how it looks. Ooh, it's hot. Okay. All right, so you can see it's kind of puffed up and it's all bubbling along the edges. So what I'm going to do is check it with my butter knife. And that's pretty clean. I mean, there's some stuff on there, but I'm going to call that good. You don't want to pull it out when there is just all kinds of stuff all over your knife. But I think this looks pretty yummy. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to let it just kind of sit. Oh, wait, I'm going to do a little bit. I'm going to get a little, oh my gosh, it's so good. I'm going to just grab one out of here and see if I can show you the layers. Well, it's really crazy hot. But I don't know if you can see, there's like all custard on the bottom half, and then kind of all the rhubarb has risen now to the top. And so when you're eating it, you get all this really nice custard on the bottom and really good rhubarb on the top. So I'm going to see, I've never done this before because it's crazy hot. I'm going to see if I cut into it. Okay, so that's all the, the steam, all the nice custard and then all the rhubarb, but there's no way I can eat it. It's 400 degrees, I'd burn my tongue. So that's what you're looking for. And then when it cools, it will just kind of shrink down, like a lot of things do shrink down once they are done cooling. But I'm going to put this back in here so I can kind of keep this all on my rack and let it cool. So that is it. Custard rhubarb custard or rhubarb custard pie if you'd like to put all this in a pie shell. Once again, you just put a pie crust down, double the recipe, put all the custard in at one time, and then put a top crust on it. I don't think you would have to do a top crust, but that's what my mom's recipe says. And then you can make a pie, and then basically it takes like a solid hour. So even these take 35 minutes at 400. But there it is, rhubarb custard. So thank you very much for watching Box for You with Stephanie. I hope you like the show. I hope you try rhubarb custard and it's delicious. Maybe not your breakfast dish like mine, but I won't tell if you don't tell. So thanks for watching. I appreciate your time, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.